What's up, guys? It's Uncle Freedom coming to you on a glorious and well-deserved day off. First things first, go ahead, like, subscribe, share, tell a friend. That, after all, is how we push out more Pro 2A content, and in this case, medical content, to the masses. Take a moment, check out some other creators that are out there that are putting out information that you enjoy. Just today, I was watching Sam over at Prep Medic. I like his channel. He is a fantastic dude that has been there, done that, and currently lives this life. And I was watching the Humble Marksman's new video on the 2311. So, what are we going to talk about today? First thing I want to do, though, is apologize to all of you. I have been kind of ghosting everyone for about 3 weeks, and that is not intentional. My life has gotten super crazy hectic. It was insanely busy at work. I'm a cop, so if it's busy at work, it's not really great. It has been insanely busy. I have not really had time off, and it's hard to get free time to do this. But I'm actually off today, so yay team for that. So today, it's time to take another step on that medical journey, but we're actually going to take a step away from talking about specific things like massive hemorrhaging. And we're going to talk about some actual truths of like tactical medicine intervention or immediate medical intervention or emergency medical intervention. It would also go under tactical combat casualty care or TCCC or TECC or tactical emergency casualty care. There is some misconceptions about what we're doing here when we break out an IFAC. And I think it's important that we touch some of those in a way that I do things with some uncomfortable truths that are probably going to hurt some feelings, and that's okay. So first things first, why is it important that we understand this specific topic, right? Like I've had people ask me like, hey, I don't do the medical thing. It's not really what I do. You know, it's not my game, right? Our entire world is full of problems, right? Like car wrecks, going to work can be dangerous, hazardous to your health, being in the wrong place at the wrong time, right? All of these things require and can require medical intervention of some kind, not to mention just your daily life in general, right? Like my IFAC actually saved my trip to South Dakota a couple of years ago. We were at the Rushmore Caves. Wife stepped off the curb weird, sprained her ankle. We were gonna have to bail out on everything. And I went down, I had my backpack, and in my backpack, one of the things that I carry is an ACE wrap, right? And we'll get more into the ACE wrap in a separate video because it has a very specific purpose. But in that situation, I was able to pull that out, wrap her ankle, and go back to life as normal. Super important. Now, the first thing we need to understand about this specific thing and trauma kits in general is that everyone should own this gear. And not only own it, but more importantly, we need to understand its operation, right? Like that's really imperative, right? Having stuff and not knowing how to use it doesn't do us any good, right? Because if we have stuff and we don't know what we're doing with the stuff, we just are carrying stuff that makes no purpose in what we're doing. But in doing this and doing this for years now, there are a ton of like half-truths, myths. That is really hard to say, man. Wow. Misconceptions that are floating around the interwebs, and people take these as gospel. And unfortunately, my video will probably not reach them. But here I am, still trying to reach them. So share this if you've got a person that meets anything I talk about today. Number one, I'm good. I bought my kit. I'm gold, right? I'm prepared. I bought my trauma kit. No, you're not. You're not even in the same sport as prepared. You have bought cleats to attend a camp in which to learn to be good at the sport, but that's all you've done. Again, if we don't have knowledge behind the gear is absolutely useless to us, and they're kind of a thing, right? There's an old saying that knowledge is power, and it's extremely lightweight. That is true. And knowledge can help you take your medical intervention devices further, but if we don't have knowledge, we just have stuff. Right? So no, just because you bought your kit doesn't mean you're good, right? We see this in the gun world all the time. I bought one just in case, man. Oh, I'm ready, right? The guys that buy steel plates and a carrier and then never do anything with it but put it in their closet. You're not ready for anything. You just have stuff. Number two, I don't carry. I had this conversation the other day. I was like, his stupidity almost rubbed off on me. I was so dumbfounded by what I heard. These people exist. They're, just so you know, and they're in our circle of people. So I don't carry a med kit because I'm not planning on losing that gunfight. All right, Turbo, let's slow down, man. I don't know who in the back needs to hear this. Not carrying medical gear because you don't plan on losing. I've said this before, right? If we are in a situation in which guns are now involved, we're playing the taking game, and it is a 50-50 shot that you're involved, that you're going to get taken out as well, right? Like, it's that hard truth about knife fighting, right? What is the one, like, completely just unmitigated truth of knife fights? Everybody's getting cut, man. That is just how it works. And if you're playing a game that requires firearms involved, it's a 50-50 shot, man. Like, it's a 50-50 shot. You're the one that goes down, but there's a high likelihood you may have to treat people around you that just happen to be in that area of the wrong place, wrong time, right? It happens. And part of what we do in the medical side of the house is not just about patching ourselves up. It's about doing it for the good of the whole, right? We are trying to ensure everybody that wasn't the dirtbag leaves that area. And as a cop, even the dirtbag's going to get treated by me because I need him to go to court, even if they drop the charges and send him right back out on the street. Man, I don't understand that. All right. Number 3, I'm just going to make one if it ever happens. Ounces equal pounds, bro. I'm just going to make one. You are not going to do, no, I don't. Again, hey, you're not going to just make one. That's not how this works. Like, short of duct tape and like gauze, there's really no I'm just going to make it, right? Like, we can substitute gauze by using a shirt. We can substitute a pressure applying device with tape, right? We can do that because everybody knows how to do that, but you're not going to just manufacture a tourniquet. What planet do you live on, right? I'm sure that dude that's at the range incident where the bad thing happened, I'm sure he's going to be totally freaking understanding of the fact that you didn't carry one because you was just going to make it. Also, your friend's an idiot that didn't have a tourniquet. This is really important for those guys that I see that take people to the range for the first time so that they can experience how amazing being a gun owner is. Those guys are depending on you to not let them like room temp while they're on the freaking range. And you making one is not a viable option, right? Hope has never been a tactical plan, okay? You have to plan. Number 4, I don't know what that is, but I carry it because maybe there'll be someone there that knows how to use it. Why do you have it? Because here's the problem, right? Like, we talk about the rule, and the rule is the fact that every single option you have between you and actually treating anything, your brain has to physically touch all those options before you do anything, right? Same thing in self-defense. If you've got like 13 different draws, your brain's got to touch all of them before you do the right thing. It's the way the brain works, right? Like, we can task like organize, we can task swap, but we can't multitask. Like, humans don't work that way. Carrying stuff in your kit because there may be somebody there that knows how to use it, well, you're admitting to me right out the gate, I appreciate the fact that you know that's not your scope. However, why do you have it? Like, we can simplify trauma kits down to a lot of stuff, right? Elastic bandage, gauze, and a tourniquet. Like, I can solve a whole lot of problems with just those things. It would behoove you to know how to use those things, right? Like, that's more in depth than some other stuff, but that's a pet peeve of mine, man. I hear that said all the freaking time in this community, and I do not understand why would you ever, like, usually the same guy that says he does that in some regards is the one that's like, I'm just going to make it. That's why I've only got one tourniquet. You're an idiot, and you need to be told that you're stupid. Number 5, overpacking your IFAKs. IFAKs and kits come in all shapes and sizes, man. Everything from the Sore Rescue Med Mag, which is a fantastically great viable option, to having like plate mounted stuff, to tear off kits, to the big Eberly stock tear offs that I use in like my actual field bags, to my Mission Medic pack. That is just a huge pack, right? All of those are medical kits, and they are all different sizes. What I'm referring to is the guy that's got just his IFAK pouch that he's got, and he is trying to be ultra prepared, but he thinks he needs 3 things of hemostatic gauze. He thinks he needs like 2 NPAs or 4 needle Ds or something like that. You do not need 3 things of hemo gauze. You do not need 3 sets of chest seals. You don't need Kelly forceps or mosquitoes. You don't need that crap in your first aid kit, because that is not what we are attempting to do. You need the base essentials that will allow you to effectively manage care until you can get them to somebody else that has all that extra stuff that you don't know what it is. Number 6, this pisses me off, and you need to hear it from a dude that's job is this. We don't fix anything in the field. Repeat with me, class. We don't fix anything. Your job is not to fix the dude that got an accidental extra hole put in his body. That's not what we're doing. We are slowing down the clock and buying seconds and possibly minutes that now allows us the chance to get them to somebody else with a surgical ward so they can fix them. You ain't fixing crap. You are buying time. We are slowing down the clock. That's the goal, right? Understand what that is. That is our goal. We are going to slow it down. We are going to get them to somebody else that can actually fix it. You can't fix anything on the side of the road. I hate to break that to you, right? Save your complex, whatever you got. You are not fixing anything. We are buying time with what we have. Go into this with that expectation, right? I want you all to be the best version of someone that can provide medical care in an emergency situation that you can be. And one of the first steps in that is understanding you aren't fixing anything. You are buying time to get them fixed by somebody that can. Number 7, almost as bad as overpacking your kit is underpacking your kit, right? Again, remember what I said, knowledge is power, it's super lightweight. Because I can make something work doesn't mean you can, right? I guarantee you, Sam at Prep Medic can make a whole bunch of crap that's very marginal that I can't get to work. He can make it work. But that's a testament to his skill and training, not to the gear. Just because I can get away with a more minimal kit and still get the same effect doesn't mean you can. Never go into something handicapping yourself on purpose. Dude, I hate to break it to you, this doesn't weigh crap. And this can be the difference. Don't skip this because I'm just going to shove a shirt in it because I know. No, you don't know, man. Have that stuff, right? We have options that make this easy. Take the easy option. For those of you that have wondered where an impassioned Uncle Freedom video has been, welcome to this one, because ooh, this stuff makes me mad. I have a serious passion for medical intervention and tactical emergency casualty care. I had a serious passion for trauma, like medical intervention, right? Because I have witnessed this skill set go from a time where if we kept a tourniquet on you for more than an hour, you would lose the limb, to now. And the awesome stuff that's available to us. Things like the Olay's modular pressure bandage, right? That is one of the single coolest items that have come out of trauma care, right? The multiple tourniquets that we have. We're no longer stuck with just a cat or a soft T, right? We now have things like the XT. We have the RevMed. Like, we have options that exist, and people are pushing those boundaries every single day. I'm passionate about it because I've witnessed it change. Same reason I love low light, right? I cleared buildings with a 60 lumen Surefire, and now I do that crap with the sun mounted on my gun. It's awesome. Number 8, and I want you all to hear me. Pay attention. This one's gonna hurt your feelings, because it hurts everybody's feelings at some point, because we're all guilty of it. Do not overestimate your skills to do the job. Do not overestimate your ability to solve a problem. That is how people die needlessly. That is stupid. You're a moron. And you need to hear that. Everybody's guilty of it, right? Everybody thinks they're going to show up to Modern Samurai and we're going to run the black belt standards. You're going to do just fine because I know how good I am. You get there and you get your teeth kicked in, right? Everybody that's ever been in a boxing match, a jiu-jitsu tournament, anything, right? Like, boxing was my sport. I loved boxing. I've been doing it since I was a little kid. I adore boxing. Nobody to blame, just you. Did you not train hard enough? Did they want it more than you? Did they have more heart, right? That is what I loved about that, right? But I have gotten my ass stomped out in a ring before because I overestimated my ability to slip punches. Everybody does it. This is not the place to do it. Like, you see this from the I don't carry it because I can just make one guy. But you also see it from the guy that's like, I watched a video once, and surely I know how to do it now. Or even worse, the guy that took Stop the Bleed like 15 years ago, but hasn't done zero continuing ed since that day, right? That guy, those are usually the biggest culprits, right? They overestimate their ability. Well, I could totally do that. No, you can't. It's okay that you can't. Just, you need to acknowledge that. Because that false sense of security on you overestimating your skills is going to lead to people leaving the gene pool and taking a room temp challenge because you're an idiot. Number 9, carrying gear way outside of your scope, man. This is, nowhere is this more prevalent than in the gun community, right? Because years ago, like, somebody posted a picture of an IFAK and there was a 3.5 inch like needle D in there for needle chest decompression. And everybody on the planet had to have that 10 gauge needle. Because, well, that's what they do, right? You, unless you have very specific training, right, that allows you to know where to stick that giant needle into somebody's chest wall to vent air out, you don't need that. And no, you're not carrying it in case somebody else shows up that knows how to use it. If you are still present on the scene of whatever is going on and enough time for another guy to show up that may know how to use it, why didn't you put that guy in the bed of your truck and take off to the hospital with a dude like telling him it's going to be okay and sticking a finger in the hole? Remember, we're buying time. We're not solving the problem. And you doing it in case somebody else knows, that's BS. Also, don't carry crap you don't know how to use. That is a stupid idea. Like, I have seen all sides of this. I have seen guys with needle D that have never had any formal training on it. Guys carrying MPAs because the internet said MPAs were cool and they don't realize that MPAs don't really do anything. It's not a secured airway, bro. Like, iGel, a king tube or something, maybe, right? You also see this from the guys that have crazy stuff in their kits, like they have an emergency crike kit or a cricothyrotomy kit, right? This is where we split this open and we insert a trach tube, inflate a lumen, and that is how we secure that airway because we have damage here that we can't get a secured airway. You don't have the ability to do that. Don't buy that and put it in your kit. That's dumb. And like, you never are going to attempt to do it, right? Because I have news for you. The Good Samaritan clause in every law doesn't cover you if you step outside of the scope of even a paramedic. That's bad. Don't do that. Don't carry this crap on you. You can't use it. There's no point in it being there, right? No, you don't need a chest tube kit. No, you don't need a crike kit. No, you don't need a saline lock system. Like, you're not going to shove a needle into some guy's chest wall or trach some dude because you saw it once in a video. You're not qualified to do it, and that's okay. But don't bring that crap with you. You don't need that problem. Also, another one I see all the time, IO kits. I don't know who in the hell thought buying an IO kit was a good idea. For those of you that don't know, IO is intraosseous. That is where we drill into the bone marrow of like the tibial plateau or the humeral plateau on the arm or above the knee, and we insert an IV that way because it is a very effective way in which to push fluids to someone that may have a venous problem and we can't get good access. But nowhere outside of that scope does that exist, right? Like the fast one, the middle of the sternal cartridge, that is stuff that we are specially trained to use. But I have news for you. Even if you were in the Army and you were specially trained to use a fast in the chest, you can't do that in the civilian world. I don't care that you know how to do it because the law says you can't. Number 10, and this, I see this all the time, confusing a boo-boo kit with an IFAK, right, or a trauma kit. Band-Aids, over-the-counter medications like diphenhydramine or anti-diarrheal or Tylenol, stuff like that. Band-Aids itself, 2x2s, 4x4s, like, you see this all the time, right, because they want to buy medical stuff, but they don't really know what they need, so they buy like 4x4s and 2x2s and stuff, and then Band-Aids, and they put it all in their IFAK. All that stuff is clutter that you now have to navigate to get to the actual stuff you need, like an ETD, to rip it out and actually do damage, right? To fix things or to make things better so that this guy can get to someone else and you bought that time with that option. Digging through your Hello Kitty Band-Aids and your anti-diarrheal medication is not the answer to this solution. There is a boo-boo kit or a generalized first aid kit. Those are awesome. You should all have one, right? And have a separate one in your kit, especially for those Minuteman mindy guys. However, that shit doesn't belong in your trauma stuff. It's a very different scope of practice, right? Bonus point number 1, buying pre-made off-the-shelf like hiker kits, those boo-boo kits I spoke about, right? Buying those commercial big stop, the bleed things that you see at like Gander Mountain or something like that, that is not the same thing as getting a real trauma kit from someone like NAR or TACMed Solutions or Rescue Essentials, something like that, right? We are talking about a very specific set of items that belong to a very specific set of core skills that can be utilized by almost everyone with very minimal training to keep people alive long enough to see a higher level of care. Your 18-inch piece of Quick Clot that you got off the shelf at Gander Mountain ain't the answer to that question, right? Don't buy that stuff. Buy it from a good, reputable source, or even better, build your own out off of a list of things that you need. Bonus point number 2, and one of my biggest pet peeves on the planet, is do not buy cheap or knockoff gear. I understand that it is alluring to get half a dozen tourniquets with a metal windlass off of Amazon for $49 when a cat costs like 30 bucks. But when they all fail and that dude doesn't make it because you bought cheap crap, nobody cares, right? Your life is worth so much more than like having three $30 tourniquets, right? Don't buy cheap gear just to check the box and say, I have it, right? Like, it's the same thing with buying needle D's and shit. If you don't know how to do that, you're not checking any box. You're adding stuff you don't need to a situation where you're going to be high stress and tempt to use it, right? Do stuff that makes sense. Don't buy cheap. Don't buy knockoff gear. I don't care. The money you save is going to be a very little consolation to that person that now has lost a family member because you bought cheap crap because it was just as good. Buy your stuff from a reputable manufacturer. This is not a place you get to be cheap. Bonus point number 3, I'm going to leave you with this, and this is absolutely, bar none, the thing that angers me more than anything else that I have mentioned on this list. So all of you listen, because this one pisses me off, and it pisses off every person I know that is like me, that takes this stuff seriously because it's a part of their job, right? I don't get to pick how my day goes when I go to work. I could have nothing to do for 12 hours. I could be at a car wreck 9 minutes after I come on to shift with a person that's got a serious femoral bleed from an open fracture in her thigh, right? That can happen. And my ability to mitigate those circumstances, to buy that little bit of time to send her where she needs to go to get a higher level of care, could be just what's on my menu 5 minutes after I shift on, right? So that's where I come from. But the people that don't understand that doing trauma medicine or medical intervention and stuff like this kind of stuff is a constant evolving learning experience. You're not just good, right? Like, as a cop, I am required to take first aid, stop the bleed, and CPR multiple times, right? Like, I have to take that like every year and a half, I think it is. And I attend some kind of a learning experience for the newest and best, like TTPs and your tactics, technique, protocols, the new best practices that we've discovered from trauma medicine, or at a trauma center somewhere like that. They have discovered that packing a wound this way is actually more effective than packing a wound that way. We've discovered that putting a tourniquet on in this position will do this thing, right? This stuff, the tactics, the techniques, the procedures, the best practices, these things ebb, flow, augment, and change all the time as new information is found. And we want that, right? Because the better we can be at our job, the more people we're going to be able to save, the longer we'll be able to buy that time for until they can get to a higher level of care. But doing it once and claiming you're good is not the same thing. This is being a constant student. You're a student in perpetuity for as long as you do the medical game, because this stuff changes at the speed of light, man. Today, what works may tomorrow be found out to be a better option somewhere else. And if I'm still doing it the other way, maybe that dude would have made it if I just took the time and not been so just freaking like sure of myself and learn that new best practice, right? Constantly staying up to date on this stuff is necessary if you ever want it. If you want to be good at it at any level, you have to constantly be advised of what it is. You can go onto Rescue Essentials, you can go onto TACMed Solutions, you can go to any of these places. They almost always have blogs where they are talking about the newest and best practices that are coming out so that we can implement those even at a base user level so that we can make the best impact we can and keep people alive for longer. So guys, that is hard truths of tactical medicine and emergency medical intervention. I really hope you found this informative. For those of you that were waiting on Angry Uncle Freedom to show back up, this will do it every single time because I hate conceited people that think they know everything and they're just gonna make it here, bro. You're not. You're stupid. You need the gear. You need to constantly train. You need to constantly be updating your best practices so that you mimic what we know works in the medical field. And above all, guys, don't put crap in your kit you don't know how to use. The scope of practice doesn't cover you if you shove a 3-inch plus needle into somebody's frickin' thoracic cavity and you hit their heart because you learned it on YouTube. Don't be stupid. Do this the right way. Oh, it makes me mad. But guys, I am Uncle Freedom. Hopefully you found this informative. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today. Take care of yourself. Take care of each other. And until next time, I'll see you later.